According to this book, a philosophy of photography is the only way that a revolution, and hence freedom, is possible to us. Hi, I'm Peter Dixie, landscape and architecture photographer, and this week I'm going to be introducing Vilem Flusser's book, Towards a Philosophy of Photography. So I'm going to talk about two chapters, or two essays that make up the book each day, going through from the beginning to the end, presenting his argument. So the first section is dealing with his concept of history. He divides history into three parts, and we're in the third part now. So his idea is there have been two great crises of relationships between people and the world, and these have resulted in different sorts of thinking and different opportunities for freedom, eventually at the end of the book, in his conclusion. So in the beginning, people relate directly to the world, and then as they develop imagination, they're able to transpose by imagination things in the world into pictures of things. They can create images, and they can examine these images, look at them and relate back to the world. But as the images themselves exist in the world, people also have the ability to copy the images without reference to the original thing that was pictured in the world. And over time, this creates a separation between the people, their images, and the world is then at a remove. People relate to the world through images, not directly anymore. This produces a sort of crisis in thought. So his idea is that the solution to this is that people break down the elements of images and separate them and rearrange them into lines. And so this is the birth of writing. Before that, the way that people would look at images, their eye would scan around and move, and it would repeatedly cover the same ground, so that no element of the image became necessarily before or after any other element. So he calls this magical time. The time can be in any order, and we can repeatedly visit the same parts of the images and again and again. When we come to writing, order matters, and the thinking becomes conceptual and linear. So we develop the idea of history. Things are in particular orders, and texts are then able to explain the images that became not understandable. So the kind of job of humanity at that point is to produce enough text to re-understand the world, to re-understand the images that previously had allowed the world to be understood. And he says eventually this comes to another crisis. Eventually the texts which allow concepts create a huge web of context which no longer allow someone to relate back to the images. Instead, we have a conceptual network, and we have another crisis. And he proposes that the solution to this is effectively the birth of what he calls technical images. And this happens with the birth of photography. So what he says are technical images are images that are produced from apparatuses that are the result of scientific texts. So this is exactly how photography came about. If we look at the history of photography, there were particular movements and developments in optics, in glass production, in chemistry, and these come together to produce a new sort of image. Previously, images had to be produced by imagination. We need to look at an image or look at the world, something in the world, and manipulate materials to reproduce that in image form. But a camera internalizes all of those processes in a way that's defined conceptually by scientific texts. The particular chemistry, or now electronics, of the camera determine those decisions, and the image is produced by us as photographers on the outside of the box. We don't need to know what's going in. We just point the camera at what we want to appear in the photograph and let it run its program, produce the image. So according to him, this brings about the end of history.